This is TWiT.
This episode of Tech Break is brought to you by our friends at IT Pro TV, now called ACI Learning. 94% of CIOs and CISOs agree that attracting and retaining talent is increasingly critical. Invest in your workforce and keep their IT skills current with ACI Learning. Visit go.acilearning.com/twit. TWiT listeners can receive up to 65% off an IT Pro Enterprise Solution Plan after completing their form. Based on your team's size, you'll receive a properly quoted discount tailored to your needs.
So I've got an issue here, which is relevant to me because I've been looking at maybe getting a new car. I have a 2005 Subaru Outback, which is basically a box on wheels with all-wheel drive. It's very handy for hauling stuff around. It's only just turned 100,000 miles because it's actually left outside by an old lady for 9 years, but it does work. And we like it. It's not comfortable for long drives, though. But here's the cool thing. It's pre-spying. It doesn't spy on you. And Mozilla on the 6th of this month came out with a really pretty comprehensive report called Privacy Nightmare on Wheels. Every car brand reviewed by Mozilla, including Ford, Volkswagen, and Toyota, flunks privacy test. It's a very long headline. And you can go in and look at all the different kinds of cars and what their privacy policies are. They can't get into them very well because these are not open source at all. They're closed source. They're buried behind the dashboard. One interesting one for me is Tesla, because one would think, hey, Tesla, boy, they could spy on you so many ways. The thing's electric, does all these things. But the Tesla is basically a computer that's also a car. And you're looking, I mean, it's not perfect open source wise, but they sound at least a little bit more committed to privacy than the others are, even though they can spy on you all kinds of ways. It's a pretty depressing report because in the computing world with phones and computers and mobile devices and little portable things you can get and carry around, and anything that computes, we could generally look at to some degree, but your car is opaque. This stuff's going on behind the dashboard. Your car comes with, for example, a cell phone in it, but you never see it. But it's a cell phone number. Your car has a cell phone number, just like it has a vehicle identification number, and it's narking on you. Some of this, we're already familiar with our mobile devices, for example, because that's what tells Google and Bing and Apple that there's traffic, because your phone is telling those outfits through the phone company that you are a traffic sensing device. And we never get that information, but they do. It's an issue. It's a separate issue. But cars are bad, privacy-wise, and I don't know how we approach these. I don't know, and I'm curious to know also. Maybe Simon knows something about this, whether or not it's as bad in Europe. Volkswagen and BMW are among the offenders here. They sell in the U.S., obviously. So I don't know. You guys have any thoughts about this?
I was encouraged by I'm no longer encouraged, but I was encouraged with the notion of things like Apple's CarPlay and Android Auto, where the smarts were going to be in your phone. And I'm an Apple phone user. My family is, so that's what I have. And I like that the smarts are there, but I'm disheartened because, like, for example, Chevrolet is not going to be having Android Auto or Apple CarPlay in their EV line. They're going to be using their own software, which means you have no access at all. I mean, you have no control over what is happening there. I don't even know what it's going to look like. I think it was a terrible idea.
It'll be bad.
The lower
you just
third.
Know it's going to be
thank
bad.
you.
Yeah,
I did notice my lower third now. I appreciate that. Anyway, so I don't know. And even our car, right now, when I use something like CarPlay, yeah, my car still has a 4G modem that's connected. Even though I don't subscribe to the service, it's still connecting to towers. I don't know what kind of data is going to and from my car to anyone. I just have no idea. So I was hoping that automakers would get out of the we are the smart software people, because they suck so bad at making decent software in their head-end units, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So, yeah. I don't have a good answer other than drive a really old car.
I was just thinking that my 97 Ford Ranger and my '05 Nissan Quest seemed really, really good and really worth keeping on the road now.
Yeah, my classic Beetles are awesome for a different reason, though, right?
Yeah, I'm holding on to this this old Subaru for the same reason. So, Simon, I mean, you must have some thoughts about this.
Well, I'm hugely discouraged by the whole motor industry. Forgetting all the stuff about gasoline or petrol. If you look at the vehicles they're producing now, they come with the invasion of your privacy built in by default, and they come with software that is intended to monetize you and turn the car into vehicle as a service. So I was particularly discouraged, for example, by BMW, who now sell access to the heated seats that are in your BMW already, but they now cost you $18 a month to activate. Or you can, at the moment, pay them $415 for unlimited access, but we'll see how long that lasts. And this trend is continuing through all the features that they're putting in. The premium access to the locations of traffic cameras and to the access to reporting on accidents and different kinds of routing is going to be restricted. Access to features in the vehicle is going to be restricted. And then that's on top of what you just described, which is they are involved in the surveillance society, instrumenting the vehicle and selling information about you to absolutely everyone they can. And I'm especially discouraged by the fact that the laws in Europe that are meant to deal with that in the rest of society, the Digital Services Act and the Digital Markets Act, have basically got big carve-outs for the motor industry in them. So I think we're in a terrible place here at the moment with motor vehicles, because if you want to get an electric vehicle, you are going to have one that is permanently connected. There are, as far as I know, no electric vehicles on the market that are not permanently connected to the company that sold them to you. And so my lifelong instinct, which is that I never want to have a relationship with a motor vehicle manufacturer, and I want the transaction to be one that concludes as I leave the showroom, and I never want to hear from them ever again if I possibly can. That is now impossible with electric vehicles, because you have to have an ongoing relationship, and they're making it impossible with fossil fuel powered vehicles as well, because you're going to need to have a relationship in order to have the steering wheel have a full 180 turn, and to have the heated seats turn on, and for the headlights to work at night, and for all of those sorts of things. Those are all going to be premium extras. Doc, you want to drive at night? Oh, well, that's in our deluxe night driver package. You want to drive in the rain, do you? Oh, well, I'm afraid the windscreen wipers are extra. That's
you had back seats, you had locks. I have to rent those. I think
it's exactly like flying Ryanair, but it's in your own car.
Yeah. So I see this two ways. Neither one of them is good, but I think it's part of the same thing. One is the digitization of everything, and there's this law, almost an iron law in tech, that what can be done will be done, and we take it to an extreme and then back off one way or another. It applied to nuclear power, it applies to hammers, it applies to everything, and it applies here. It's like what can be done will be done. A guy named T. Rob Wyatt, who is in one of the communities that I'm involved with, back in 2012, had a very eloquent blog post about this. And he came to meetings just shouting to the rooftops about how this is starting to happen, that the automobile industry is completely in the thrall of jealousy over the online advertising industry, saying we want to be able to do this in cars. We're looking at this as a profit center. We want to just digitize everything. But I think so that's one thing that's going on. But the other thing is, as cars become more electrical, they become more electronic, and as we drift toward getting all toward electric cars becoming, and first with hybrids and now with electric cars becoming the norm, it's like we as drivers become, to use a new verb here, backseated more and more and more. We're not the drivers. We are driven, and we're driven by these things are our chauffeurs. And they're narking on us all the time because they can. And the hard thing for me is where I am not, I have this libertarian streak that says every new law protects yesterday from last Thursday and less of this for another 150 years or something. And I worry about new laws respecting this, but I think law may be the only way we could do this. We may need regulation that says, no. And all the data you're gathering about people, it goes to them first. They get to valve it on or off, whether or not it's shared. And maybe you could leave a backdoor in for law enforcement, but I don't like that either. But I don't know. Jonathan, you have any thoughts about this? I think you're sort of somewhat of a similar mind on this kind of thing.
Yeah, so
not.
I will tell you the thing that really first comes to mind for me is that in the United States and other places around the world, there's quite a culture of doing car modifications.
Yeah.
Bolting on parts to get more power. Yeah, and so that's the thing that comes to mind. What on a lot of these new cars, is there somebody selling a replacement nav and entertainment center? Or alternatively, can you jailbreak your nav and entertainment center on such and such new car? Or replace it with something open source, or at least go in and flip the switches.
I bet it voids the warranty. I bet if you do something like that, nothing is warranted then in your car anymore. It would be my guess. Like, what if you unplugged the plug to make you and plugged? You just shorted the thing so your seats heated up, and the computer detected that it was unplugged or something. I mean, I could picture like, oh no, sorry, your warranty is voided. Oh, your transaxle went out right after you did that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So the thing that I fear is, and I get that, and that's something to worry about. But the thing that I fear even more is car manufacturers using the DMCA to say, oh, no, you can't sell a piece of software that turns off our tracking and advertising, because you had to circumvent our DRM to be able to do it. And here you have to take that down.
So your answer, Jonathan, is let's just get a culture to jailbreak these things and make them ours as much as possible. Warranties be damned.